Welcome into Outkick the Show. I am your fearless host, Clay Travis, coming to you live from my hotel room down in New Orleans as we get ready for the big game between Clemson and LSU, which is not very far away at all. As things move and progress a little bit closer, let me know if you can hear me okay. I know the lighting is not spectacular, but when you're as good looking as me, the lighting really shouldn't matter at all. Again, down in New Orleans, I got a lot that I need to hit with you here pretty quickly. About to head over to the stadium. Got to do lock it in about a half hour here from New Orleans to celebrate Derrick Henry's big performance. A lot to get to, but I want to say right off the top here, I spent an early part of today at the World War II Museum in New Orleans. I don't know how many of you have ever been there before. Incredible place. They have World War II veterans who sit in the foyer, the lobby, the main entrance point of the entire museum. It was incredible, fantastic. I want to thank Sarah Kirksey and James Lynn, two LSU fans who showed me around, gave me a behind-the-scenes tour there. They were fantastic. And again, the World War II Museum, National World War II Museum, is located in New Orleans, and it is an incredible way to spend your time. It is crazy on the streets of New Orleans. There are lots of Clemson people. There are, not surprisingly, a lot of LSU people. It is going to be an electric environment tonight in the Superdome. So we start there with tonight's game. I told you a while back to take LSU on the futures ticket, and I did it on Lock It In. I've got LSU at 7-1, but I also bet on Clemson at nearly 3-1. So I've got kind of a free roll on this game. And the more I look at it, the more I think the value proposition, at least, is on Clemson plus 5.5. Because prior to LSU's domination of Oklahoma and Clemson's somewhat fortunate win over Ohio State, Clemson would have been around a 1 or 2 point favorite in this game. And so now you're out to 5.5 or 6 at some places. I know there's been a little bit of a buyback on Clemson, but I think there's actually good value right now on Clemson. My prediction here, I like Clemson and I like the under. My prediction is a 34-31 LSU win. And I think the Tigers from LSU get it done over the Tigers from Clemson. Ultimately, to me, the biggest storyline here is Joe Burrow going up against Trevor Lawrence. If Joe Burrow wins, and I think there's a very good chance that Joe Burrow and LSU will win tonight, that's why I'm picking them. I think that LSU will have maybe the greatest 15-0 season of all time in college football history. The only other 15-0 season is Clemson last year. And Joe Burrow will have the greatest single season in the history of college football quarterbacks. Right now, I would give that award to Cam Newton when he was the quarterback for the 14-0 Auburn Tigers. In this scenario, I think that Joe Burrow would become the greatest single season quarterback in history. Guy's got 55 touchdowns and 6 interceptions, I think, or 56 and 5, something like that. I mean, it's off the charts level performance by Joe Burrow. Flip side. If Clemson wins, then a couple of things happen. Dabo Swinney surpasses Nick Saban officially beyond a shadow of a doubt as the king of college football coaching, something that hasn't happened basically for the entire tenure that Nick Saban has been at Alabama. And Trevor Lawrence would be undefeated as a starter. Clemson would have won 30 games in a row. And going forward, Trevor Lawrence would have the possibility to argue that he is the greatest college football quarterback of all time, because if he comes back and plays for his third year, which I think he would, I don't think he would go pro or sit out a year. If he comes back and plays again, he would be trying to complete 3 straight undefeated seasons as a starting quarterback with 3 national championships. That would be off the charts, the greatest college quarterback career of all time, I believe, beyond any question, beyond a shadow of a doubt. That is what is at stake in this game between LSU and Clemson. Both of these guys just playing off the charts level, extraordinary. We know that Joe Burrow, barring a Cincinnati Bengal disaster, is going to be the overall number 1 pick in the 2020 draft. I also believe, barring some sort of craziness, that we will have Trevor Lawrence as the overall number one pick. And by the way, you guys in the comments can all tell me which side do you like. Do you like LSU -5 or do you like Clemson +5? Everybody can share all of their picks right now in the comments section as you so choose. I would like to see which ones you guys are taking. Again, LSU -5 or Clemson -5. And you can check out all of the different bets that are rolling in right here from everybody. All right, the Astros. Been a rough 24 hours for Houston. We'll get to the Texans here in a minute, but this is pretty wild. News just came down in the last, hour and a half or so that the Astros GM and manager were suspended for a year by Major League Baseball. The Astros lost their first and second round picks in 2020 and in 2021, and they were given a $5 million fine. After that news came out and that penalty from Major League Baseball, then the owner of the Houston Astros announced that he was firing his manager and that he was firing his GM. Now, I am sort of utterly fascinated by this story because I question if the Astros are doing it, and the penalties are for stealing signals when they were playing at home. If the Astros are doing it, I find it hard to believe that a lot of other Major League Baseball teams are not doing some similar aspect associated with these penalties. But I also think this is worse, arguably, to me, than Pete Rose betting on baseball games. And let me explain why I think it's worse. Pete Rose, so far as we understand, only bet on his team to win. I understand why you don't want athletes betting on baseball. I certainly understand why you don't want managers betting on baseball. But if you're betting on yourself, is that really any different than waiting to sign a contract until you prove that you deserve it? If you're betting on yourself to win, as long as you don't start betting against yourself, then I understand why it should be prohibited. Don't get me wrong. But if I had to choose between what's going on with the Astros, where they're directly cheating in the game, or someone betting on themselves to win, again, just think about this. If the Astro manager and GM were come out that they had bought futures tickets on the Astros to win the World Series, would I really think it was anything wrong with them doing that? They are betting on themselves. If you're betting against yourself, I agree, because then you're tossing the game and the sanctity of competition is in question. But here, I actually think what the Astros did is worse than what Pete Rose did, and Pete Rose has got a lifetime ban. I don't think that Pete Rose should have a lifetime ban, and I do think that, again, this is probably more substantial in the world of baseball than we really know. All right, couple of other thoughts here before I have to go do television for Lock It In. How about Derrick Henry? Derrick Henry so far is the MVP of the NFL postseason. He has gone for 180 in 3 straight games, and the Titans are trying to do the improbable, which is win 4 straight games against all 4 division winners in their conference on the road to advance to the Super Bowl. Now, you can say that the Texans rested their starters in the final week of the season. Certainly true. Derrick Henry still ran for 211 yards. Then he went on the road against Foxborough against the AFC East champs. Then he went on the road against the AFC North champ, Baltimore Ravens. And now he is going on the road against the AFC West champ, Kansas City Chiefs. I like the Chiefs early on looking at this. I think that Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback left in the Final Four. And in general, I'm going to bet on the best quarterback as you come down the stretch run. But what the Titans and Derrick Henry have done is flat out off the charts of level incredible in terms of the wins that they've had against the Ravens and against the Patriots in back-to-back weeks. Titans now going on the road against Kansas City. I'll get to the Chiefs here in a moment, but let me say this about Chief fans. I'm blown away by how many Chief fans have reached out to me, offered me places to stay, offered me free tickets, offered my family free tickets, offered us places to stay. I've never had a fan base, ever, that I can remember reach out and be as friendly as the Kansas City Chief fan base has been since they advanced to the AFC Championship game against my Titans. I am blown away by the generosity of the Kansas City Chiefs fan base. I'm not going to be on the road for this game. I'm in New Orleans right now. I've got to be in LA at the end of the week. I'll be back home on Sunday to watch this game with my kids, where I've watched all the games so far. But I'm blown away by how friendly everybody in Kansas City has been. By the way, shout out Mike Vrabel. As I said immediately after the game, you can go watch my reaction. I was totally wrong about Mike Vrabel. He has got this team playing at an off-the-charts level. And props to the Titans for getting to this point with a perfect game plan. Lots to unpack. You can go listen to the Outkick the Show, Outkick the Coverage morning show. We talked about it for 3 hours, and I think you guys will really love it. I believe what happened to the Texans was the biggest beatdown that we have ever seen in a comeback context in the postseason. More so than the 35-3 comeback, more so than the 28-3 comeback. Hate to bring that up for Falcon fans and for Houston Oiler fans. What the Kansas City Chiefs did in turning a 24-0 deficit into, by halftime, a 28-24 lead, and then a 51-7 outburst. 51-7 is, I think, the biggest collapse we've ever seen in the history of the NFL playoffs. Not by pure point total, but to swing from a 24-0 lead to have it turn into a 51-31 loss. That's the biggest swing I believe we have ever seen in the history of the playoffs. I don't know how, if you're a Texans fan right now, you can be confident at all in Bill O'Brien. I thought the decision that Bill O'Brien made to go for it on the fake punt from his own 35 up 24-7 was one of the worst decisions I've seen in a crucible moment for a head coach ever. It basically sent the message to your team that you knew you had no business being able to win that game. You can argue about whether or not going for it on fourth down when you're up 21-0 to try to make it 28-0 or try to make it 24-0 was the best scenario. But to me, going for it on the fake punt up 24-7 was a collapse. You can't control your kick returner fumbling the ball and having it caught in the air. Those are kind of flukish events, but you can control whether or not you go for it. And I thought Bill O'Brien's decision to go for it there was indefensible. I don't think this team likes him. I think Deshaun Watson has carried the Houston Texans through a lot of difficulty. You had that video of Bill O'Brien losing it when a fan told him that he sucked. I think that is an indefensible position that you put your team in, and it's hard for me, if I'm a Texans fan, to support Bill O'Brien. Still, having said that, Patrick Mahomes, best player remaining in the final four teams. I believe the Chiefs are the best team remaining. I really do. I think they should be the Super Bowl favorite. If I'm predicting right now, I think there's a big gap between the 49ers and the Packers. I'm not sure how big the gap is between the Chiefs and the way the Titans are playing right now. I think the Titans will give them a run, but I like right now the Chiefs and the 49ers as the two teams that I think will advance and play in the Super Bowl. Notwithstanding how excited I am for the Titans to be in the AFC Championship, I think the two wins they put together are incredible, but I think the Chiefs right now and the 49ers are the two best teams in the entirety of the NFL. Got to say this. Incredible performance last night by Russell Wilson. If Russell Wilson is an average quarterback for this Seattle Seahawks team, they go 4-12. They might go 5-11. He carried that team on his back. They can't run the football. They can't really block for him at all. I don't know how many miles he ran trying to avoid Green Bay Packer defenders, but I thought that Pete Carroll did a disservice to Russell Wilson deciding to punt late in that game. Your only chance to win is if Russell Wilson makes incredible plays. You're at your 37-yard line. You can't punt and give the ball back to Green Bay. You have to give Russell Wilson a chance on 4th and 11 to make a play with you. And with Lockett and DK Metcalf, I thought that was a really poor decision by Pete Carroll. But my goodness, what an incredible performance by him this season to basically will his team to the Final 8. That's a 4-12 or 5-11 team, guys. Without that quarterback, Russell Wilson is flat out unbelievable. Unbelievable in terms of his overall performance so far in this year for the performance that we've gotten from them. Also, props to the 49ers who completely dominated the Vikings. I thought the Vikings were going to give them a fight. I really did. I was wrong. The 49ers walked all over them, and that was an utter, I thought, disaster going forward in terms of how that game went down. Russell Wilson, I think, probably the best quarterback relative to the talent around him in the NFL this year. Patrick Mahomes right now, best quarterback remaining. Interesting stat for you. Aaron Rodgers, 17 playoff starts. 3 playoff starts for Patrick Mahomes. 2 playoff starts so far for Ryan Tannehill. 1 playoff start so far for Jimmy G. So 17 playoff starts by himself for Aaron Rodgers. Just 6 so far for the remainder of the 3 teams and 3 quarterbacks that are left. Finally, Antonio Brown. I don't know if you guys saw this video, but I feel awful for Antonio Brown, his family right now, and for his kids. The guy posted a video of the police being called to his house where he stood outside of his house insulting, I think on Instagram, all the police officers. Pretty awful context. If you saw that video, Antonio Brown has major mental health issues, and every single day things appear to be getting worse for him. I don't think he's ever going to play in the NFL again. If you haven't seen that video, it's out there. I'm sure it's going to be a story. It's really a difficult situation to see. I think you have to be careful and not get addicted to social media and to the attention sometimes that social media can bring with it. I think that's whether you're a celebrity like Antonio Brown, or you're a regular teenager out there, or you're someone like me who's in the media industry and is in the opinion business. I feel really bad for him, and I think he's got major issues, potentially CTE, certainly major mental health issues, and it needs to be solved for him. I'm not sure how it is going to be, or if it will be solved for him, but it's incredibly difficult to see the way this is going down. All right. I love all of you. I think I hit everything that I was planning on hitting. Congrats to Chiefs, Titans, Packers, and 49er fans. You are in the NFL's Final Four. It'll be exciting to see what happens in the AFC and the NFC championship games. I'll be on live in about 25 minutes from New Orleans with Lock It In, and then I'll be at the game tonight. You can follow me on Twitter if you're not already, at Clay Travis. Should be an awesome time. Thanks again to the World War II Museum for the hospitality today, Sarah Kirksey and James Lynn. It was a lot of fun. And I will see you guys tomorrow and with the radio program, which will be live from New Orleans. And I'm hopping a flight, getting back home to Nashville. And I will be doing Lock It In back home in Nashville. But Lock It in 25 minutes from down here. I got my white jacket and all-white shirt in paying homage to Derrick Henry's outfit before the Baltimore Ravens game. Love you guys. Should be a lot of fun in the Superdome tonight. Can't wait to watch. You can follow me along on social media at Clay Travis there. Again, I like Clemson plus the points, the under in this game, LSU to win 34-31. DBAP, unless you need to SBAP. I'll see you guys. I'm Clay Travis. This has been Outkick the Show.